Hello, faithful Starcraft fans. This is Game 5 of WhiteRa versus WhiteDIMAGA, and this is going to be the final game in this show match to determine who wins it. And I'm not sure if there's any money on the line or anything. These guys have done a bunch of show matches before, but usually show matches do have some money riding on the line from some sponsor somewhere. We might see it flash up here in the comments from one of the observers. But so far, this has been an interesting series. This is going to be the last game, so whoever wins this is going to take the series. It is 2-2, and we're going to go ahead and see who wants it more between these two players. WhiteRa is showing forward fast expand on this map, which is Terminus, and this is one of the more obscure versions of Terminus, based upon the name that I saw. But we'll just review the map here really quickly as the game is getting charged up. This is a huge map. Probably the biggest map that's really played right now in the competitive scene. This was made by GSL. You can see a lot of cool little doodads here showing up, some holograms of like a Zergling and some DNA strands and whatnot. But the map is huge. Your base is basically this. Whoa! I don't know what was up with WhiteDIMAGA's drones, having a little bit of a huddle to like cheer on the team to say, "Let's go Zerg!" and go back to mining. But essentially, your base here on Terminus is you have a pretty, it's kind of a smaller sort of starting base into a natural right down the ramp, into a third right down another ramp. And there's several different versions of this. Some of these versions have a rich Vestamine geyser here, some of them don't. Some of the versions have destructible rocks here, so you can get into the third, and some of them don't. But this is definitely the map that has the destructible rocks and no rich Vestamine geyser, so whatever version it might be called, I'm not exactly sure what the difference is, at least by just glancing at the names. But anyway, WhiteRa is positioning to take his Nexus here as he's building up the minerals. We should see it drop here any second, and there it goes. So WhiteRa is going for this Forge Fast Expand, taking his Nexus on 17, which is very normal. Usually we'll drop a pylon, start a probe, and get your economy rolling as soon as you possibly can. WhiteDIMAGA actually went for a hatchery first, I believe, and started a spawning pool right after that. So if you take a look at the timings on there, yes, a hatchery did start about 20 seconds before. So WhiteDIMAGA is going for hatch first, which is pretty safe on this map, unless WhiteRa decides to really harass it with some cannons, which we saw him try in another game. But I don't think he's going to try that again, considering this is the final match, and whoever wins this is going to win, or rather, this is the final game, and whoever wins this is going to win the match. So 2-2 here. Very exciting stuff. Hope you guys enjoy this game. I hope this turns out to be a good game. WhiteDIMAGA's posturing for a fast third. This is going to be a third at about 4:15, and there it goes, plop. That's a really fast hatchery. If WhiteRa went for a sort of puzzle-style quick 6-gate after this Forge Fast Expand, WhiteDIMAGA would be in a lot of trouble. So we'll see how WhiteRa opts to respond to this, but I don't think WhiteRa is actually going to get that scouting information, considering these bases are so safe. I mean, they're essentially choked by one entrance point, which is actually kind of like right here, considering the destructible rocks are right there. You can defend all three of your bases by ground on that one point. So WhiteRa's not going to see that, so I don't think he's actually going to get that information, but good of him to move out another probe so that he can get in there and scout. This is so smart. Every player needs to do something like this. If you get chased away by Zerglings, just pull another worker that's ready to go back in there, because those Zerglings can't know everything. This probe is actually locked out, so he forgot his keys. He is stuck on the outside of the wall, and he's just going to have to hide there and hope that Zerglings don't find him. WhiteRa's going to get in here, and he might get the scouting information, which could really turn the tide of this game. If you're WhiteDIMAGA, you'd probably want to sit your queen over here a little more. Here comes WhiteRa, and he's actually going to see the third, and the hatchery is going to finish, so WhiteRa knows what's up. WhiteRa is going for a Stargate in response to this, which he has done in other games. Very normal here, but if he drops an additional Stargate, and if WhiteDIMAGA is not mining gas, which he got caught doing that in one of these games, he might be in a lot of trouble here. We'll see exactly how aggressive WhiteRa opts to be. There's still a drone in WhiteRa's base. This is very irritating. I don't know if this drone has actually seen that Stargate yet. I doubt it, considering he knows there's a cannon there. So it's pretty good placement by WhiteRa. He's actually hiding this from the Zerglings as well. The Zerglings probably can't get in far enough to see that Stargate unless they just sacrifice themselves. But the drone is going to come around here. He's going to be scouting around the natural. He's going to check the third, and you might actually see the Stargate, which, if he can get the scouting information, will be very big. We can see WhiteDIMAGA's vision here. No, it's just out of range. He does not see the Stargate. And WhiteRa really doesn't have anything to clean this up, though, so WhiteMaga still walks past it again. He's not going to see that Stargate unless he moves over there. So this is pretty big scouting information that WhiteMaga is kind of missing right now. He does have his drone, again, rallying around to see exactly what's going on, but he does not see it yet. He still doesn't see it. So this is fantastic placement of this. WhiteMaga has no idea that this is coming. He's still on hatchery tech. He's now grabbed his gases, so WhiteRa's putting out his first Void Ray. The Zergling is not going to see it. So WhiteRa is getting all the breaks here in terms of his Stargate and units out of the Stargate not getting scouted so far. There is an Overlord here that could float in and see it, but WhiteRa is really buying a lot of time here to make this push more effective. WhiteMaga's taking a fourth at 8 minutes, so WhiteMaga is being extremely aggressive in his economy right now, and he's putting up a Roach Warren. That's not going to help you fight Void Rays, so we'll see how many units WhiteRa is able to get out of here before this actually gets scouted. And WhiteMaga's drone died, but I don't think that it saw the Stargate. No, it didn't. It did see the robotics facility, so WhiteMaga may just have taken that third out of after seeing the robotics facility. In comes the Phoenix and the Void Ray. Going to start charging up on this Roach Warren before it engages any queens or anything. It is now charged, and he's probably going to try to cancel that Roach Warren just so his push is all the more safe. Up comes the Queen. WhiteRa should change his focus to the Queen, and he's going to go ahead and lift it up with one of these Phoenix. There it goes, so that he can kill it without the Queen returning fire. And this next Queen, yeah, her days are numbered. She's going down. She should die here in just the next little bit. And you can see WhiteMaga was just not prepared for this because he didn't scout that one little area where the Stargate was sitting. Hydralisk Den is now on the way, but WhiteRa could do a lot of damage. And WhiteMaga mistakenly actually lets that Roach Warren finish, and he loses the Spore Crawler as well. So WhiteMaga is in a big trouble right now. Another Queen is going to go down, making it so that he can't really put out a lot of units. It's going to slow down his economy in addition to hurting a lot of stuff. He's killing drones now. Drones need to get pulled. Overlords are going to fall. Queens are reporting to the fight, but there's enough Phoenix here that the Phoenix will actually be able to kill the Queens by themselves, but there's too many Queens here. WhiteRa really needs to rally his forces here and not lose any of these units, but one of the Phoenix is going to go down. So WhiteMaga recovering pretty well with all these Queens and the Void Rays. One hit away from death. Yes! WhiteMaga actually gets it down. So WhiteMaga has officially held that off for the time being. So fairly minimal damage here. WhiteMaga did lose a Roach Warren and a few Queens and a couple of drones, but getting that Void Ray down was huge considering this base would have been undefended. He's still losing a few drones to these Phoenix, but these Phoenix have limited energy. Up comes the Hydralisk, and WhiteRa is going to have to run away. He cannot afford to keep engaging right here. Behind this, WhiteRa's expansion is now done, but there are drones standing, or rather drones. There are probes standing around after they've built these pylons, so WhiteRa's definitely been distracted by that. And there's a second robotics coming up here, so geez, a whole bunch of gateways are morphing in here too. This is 6 gateways. He's going to be on double robo, flooding out Colossus as soon as possible. 17 roaches on the way for WhiteMaga, probably figuring that he's not going to keep up the Stargate shenanigans. I don't know what kind of scouting information he has, but he knows that the robotics is there, so he's got to be figuring that Colossus transition is coming up. In terms of supply, WhiteMaga is well ahead. His economy should be ahead as well. As you can see, a huge explosion of mineral income, 2,300 per minute. That's insane, especially if you have the hatcheries and the larvae to back that. Pathogen glands coming up here, or excuse me, that is ventral sacs. That's going to be Overlord dropping. I don't know if he already has Overlord speed. No, they're still very slow Overlords. More Phoenix are coming out here to try to get a little bit more harassment done and scout at the same time to see exactly what's going on. WhiteRa again on double robo. This is about as all in on your tech as you can get. It's very hard to transition out of double robo, so he just needs to hope that this Colossus stuff works. There's still a couple of probes that are locked out. These other probes got back to work. More Phoenix are rallying here, and you can see WhiteMaga knows these Phoenix are over here based upon the Zergling just running back and forth, scouting and doing what he can. Baneling's now coming up, so we may see some Baneling drops here out of WhiteMaga. Hydra range, pathogen glands, and indeed that is pathogen glands, are coming down here. Phoenix harassment pretty big here, actually taking down this Queen, which will stop the reinforcements for quite a little bit. There's a huge Overlord party here too, so WhiteRa could get a ton of damage done in terms of how many Overlords he can kill. He's opting to take down drones instead, rather than fighting the Overlords. There's no response at all from WhiteMaga to get his Hydras over here and help clean this up. So his Phoenix are doing a ton of work, taking down a whole bunch of Overlords. Another Overlord falls, and this is just wasting resources that DIMAGA will have to spend on more Overlords, in addition to spending Larva on Overlords. WhiteRa's Phoenix now come over here to this expansion. He's going to lift up the Queen, and he will kill it for sure. But here comes a Hydralisk finally reporting the fight, and he actually cancels the hold on there, and the Queen is going to survive. So DIMAGA just barely reporting in time to save this Queen. And again, if you miss any injects on these hatcheries, that really hurts you in the long run as a Zerg player. But now that speed is done, 11 Infestors are on the way. There's going to be a huge army clash that's going to definitely decide this series. There's 4 Colossus on the field, soon to be 6 WhiteRas. You can see they're both spawning Colossus at the same time. And that's pretty intimidating to see 2 huge units coming out at the same time from these buildings. There's now Neural Parasite on the way. I feel like WhiteRa's time is a little bit limited right now in terms of the window that he has to start doing damage, because once DIMAGA starts building up a lot of resources, he's just going to be able to endlessly reinforce, whereas WhiteRa's Colossus are going to be the backbone of his army. If he loses these Colossus, he's basically lost the game. Banelings are now morphing. Here's a huge collection of army units here in this middle for DIMAGA. Overlord dropping is ready, so if he gets the Fungals down, and if he can land Baneling drops on top of this army, that will be it. More Banelings are morphing. He should start loading up here in just a second. Yes, there he goes. WhiteRa is now posturing outside of DIMAGA's creep. DIMAGA he can't actually see this now that the Zergling is running over here and getting fried up by a Colossus. So this is going to be so close. Blink is not done though, and that's huge. Blink is so essential to defending from these Baneling drops.